Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for another live reaction and player ratings live stream. Following, unfortunately, another defeat. Third defeat in a row. It's not flipping fun, that is it? Absolutely not. I'm pretty sure it's 4 in a row, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's a weird one today. I've seen a lot of people be very annoyed, negative, angry today. I'm less so a little bit because I'm like, it was much better than I expected, if I'm honest. Like, I mean, the usual, we miss chances, but it's not like we haven't had that problem for about 5 years. So it's not like I'm surprised by anything. But the performance was better than I thought. And Lewis Hall is an absolute superstar. And quite frankly, should be our starting left wing back moving forward. Because he was today better than Ben Chilwell and Marco Correa at left wing back put together all season long. Like, that was unbelievable. Obviously, missed 2 absolute sitters and should have scored 2 goals. And that could have won us the game. So that's a little bit difficult. But, you know, still fair play. And if someone like Couture Criminal says City didn't try, well, we also didn't put our strongest team out. Like, let's not sit here and pretend like we played our strongest 11 and they're the only ones that rotated, right? Like, you know, keep a little bit of perspective. It wasn't that bad. Like, City dominated us, obviously. We didn't press particularly hard, but who does against Man City? If you're honest, even Liverpool choose not to press against City because it just kills you. If you press City, you're just fucked because it opens gaps. They're the best team at exploiting gaps, and then you're just screwed. Which is how we kind of kept them away from having too many chances outside of long shots mainly. But unfortunately, our Mr. Centre-Back, Mr. Experienced Centre-Back to replace Rudiger, decides not to jump in the wall when everyone else jumps. He literally would have headed the free kick away. But instead, we're 1-0 down. 5 minutes later, we are 2-0 down, and the game's over. Stays 0-0, who knows what could happen? I think we play well. Like, not well, but like in comparison to what I expected, we played better than I expected, if I'm being perfectly honest. But let me get to my wonderful guests today. And by the way, can't talk. Ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe, smash the like button, and give us your thoughts in the chat. Pice, I'll start with you. Thank you for being here as always, mate. Judging by what you said in a group chat and a couple of things I've seen you tweet, you don't quite have the same thoughts as I do. But what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that everyone's saying this is, or isn't angry or annoyed because we have to play one less game now, has absolutely zero mentality and has no idea what Chelsea is. I'm quite disappointed tonight. I don't see the quite, we played well. I think scraping the barrel, to be quite honest with you. I think we had a few counter-attacks, but again, extremely wasteful with our chances, which can't really go down on the manager, but the facts are this is now our worst run since 2017-18, which was a horrible season. It's 3 out of 4 losses, and yeah, it's not good enough. We need to get results as soon as possible. And the main thing that's annoyed me tonight is the fact that the players, as we had to call the players back yet again to clap the fans because they all went down the tunnel. Potter went down the tunnel. Loads of players went down the tunnel. Azpi and a couple of others stayed on the pitch. The fact our captain has to call these players back is a disgrace. Really disappointed to see Gallagher in the group that wanted to walk straight down the tunnel. With the cost and living crisis as it is, I think these tickets, people travel up from London to go and watch the game tonight when, we've not been on a good run, but they're still going back and support the team and had a good atmosphere. I think that's extremely appalling, in my opinion. And I mean, I don't really get the same vibe. Everyone's saying it was a bit of an improvement. Well, I'd hope so, because last game was the worst performance I've seen in years. So, I still think. I mean, I do agree with you in like what you said about the pressing in terms of if you do press them, you're kind of fucked. But I still think there was a lack of fight, a lack of courage there. I only really think we went at them when there was a counter attack on. And I said yesterday, I think we need to take the game to them. I thought we kept the ball really, really bad. So didn't keep the ball at all. And yeah, thought we was just pretty shit, to be honest. I don't see why everyone's so happy.
I think happy is an exaggeration, but I think there was some decent performances there. I think we need to obviously understand that it's like we want to be as good as Man City, but there's also a little bit of we're not. Do you know what I mean? Like, as much as we don't like that, we need to accept that. So we can't go into games and expecting us and pretending like we should play like we're as good as them, because we're not as good as them. Like our B team is nowhere near as good as their B team.
Fight harder than them then. And by the way, we don't have fight harder than them. And by the way, we don't have a strongest team, like you said. We don't have a strongest team at all. Our best player in the last few games has been an
that is
18-year-old.
true. I see what you're saying, but still, we still rotated heavily, and a lot of the players that play today wouldn't usually play.
But they should, because they're better than the other players that are a disgrace.
Yeah,
Sterling missing a chance in the box. Havertz absolutely shocking off the bench yet again. Pulisic showing, in my opinion, why he isn't a star. He's too wasteful. Ziyech was okay, but again, not Chelsea level. Yeah, just Broja, I didn't think did enough.
But what is this Chelsea level? Like, is anybody Chelsea level? No. Like, there's a different Chelsea level at the moment to 2005. Do you know what I mean? It's not the same thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, we all wish it was. I don't know what Chelsea level is anymore. I don't know what it is.
True. Yeah, no. I mean, like I say, we just need to be a little bit realistic, I think. Like, if we go into games against Man City and expect to outplay them, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment, kind of. But at the same time, I understand we all want that. But like, did any of you expect us to be better than City today? Like, any of you? Surely not. Like, right? Aaron, what's your perspective? Do you side with Pice on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not happy at all. I think some of the stuff that we saw today was nothing short of embarrassing. I think a lot of the times we're just under the cosh. They're literally just coming onto us. The only time we really got out and did something was more on the break or towards the end of the game, where we had to literally chase it down. Some of the substitutions decisions I thought were very questionable. I think it just all around today just was not a good day, and it's not been a good run at all. As Pi said, 3 losses in 4. It's not really what we're used to.
Worst run since 2017-18. I'll say that again.
Yeah, that was a very
While
bad
that
season.
may be a fair thing to point out, how often have we played Arsenal and City back-to-back without, like, whoever is top of the league plus Man City back-to-back? Like, how often is that?
Arsenal acting like Arsenal are a great team.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
Come
Just
on.
they're top of the league. It doesn't matter what
City in the cup. Like, fair enough if it was
2016,
Premier
you said
League.
that about Leicester. Do you know what I mean? They still won the league, though. Do you know what I mean? Is what it is.
No, I can't lie. I don't care whether it's Arsenal and City back-to-back or top of the league and City back-to-back. I still think it's shambolic. I think even with those kind of games, you go out there and you know what the occasion is. You're playing against a top side. You need to be on your game. And the fact is, we've been nothing short of shit. So having one game now before a long break for the World Cup, you need to end on some sort of high, which I don't see happening because Newcastle are in great form. They're playing really good football. So I don't see us getting anything out of a game against Newcastle, which is appalling in itself for a Chelsea standard. We're going away to their stadium, but I don't go there with any confidence that we get anything. Then we've got a long break before the World Cup, and before you go away for the World Cup, you'd want to get a win under your belt to try and sort of put that shit run to an end and build up a little bit of momentum. So when you go for the break, your players go into their World Cups and whatever with their teams, and you come back and you get straight back on it. But it's just been nothing short of shocking, and I'm so disappointed. This last couple of weeks of football has been shit.
It has been shit. Absolutely. It's interesting. It's very interesting that you guys are so gutted by this. I don't really know what you guys expect.
Bro, you have to remember that.
I don't know. I'm just surprised that you're surprised. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, it's disappointing for sure, but not surprising.
But that's the mentality we have now. We beat City 3 times last season, bro. 3 times.
No, we didn't.
We beat them under Tuchel 3 times.
Yeah, 2 seasons before
last.
Okay, whatever. I'm not. You know, I'm not trying to be smart or anything, but it's not good enough.
No,
I hear that. I hear that, but again,
like, why are our fans so laid back about this? Like,
sorry,
our fans are just so laid back nowadays. I don't get it. Like, where are the standards? I don't understand.
I'm at a point.
I'm fucking fuming, bro.
It's gonna take some time. We're gonna be in a little bit of a rough patch for a little while. Like, honestly, after the Arsenal game, I was like, well, we're losing to City. We're probably losing to Newcastle. Hey, just get to the World Cup, see what happens after. Like, what else can I do? I can't sit here and cry my eyes out for the next 6 weeks. Like, what is that gonna do? I understand. Like, I don't necessarily think you're wrong. Not at all. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of acceptance. Is that a good thing? Maybe not. But I don't know. I don't want to be depressed for the next 6 weeks. You know what I mean? So, like, I wasn't surprised by this. I saw a comment. So, and like I said, to be honest, I thought we were better than we would be. So, I've got to go by that, but I also understand that it is disappointing. And for worst runs in 17-18 is poor. You know, the results have been poor. Like, and the weird thing is, before the results got bad, the performances got bad, and that is arguably even more dramatic and disappointing. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens on the weekend. Maybe pull one out the bag. I doubt it at this point, because no matter how acceptably we create chances, which we did today, we just don't take them anyway. So like it's a little bit of a, yeah, it's just difficult. It's just difficult. But again, I'll say the same thing as I said yesterday to people that say Potter out, Potter out. What do you think happens then? If we sack Potter today, you won't get another manager, because they're like, well, they sacked me after 2 months, so I'm not going there. Any players, there's no project to believe in if you sack 2 managers within 2 months.
Like, we just keep losing
then,
and accept that we're just bad. We should just keep losing and accept it.
Bro, you know it. You can't sack the manager now. We'll be ridiculed in the whole footballing world, and it won't work. Like, you know that. And like, we all cried for longevity, and we all knew that going on that road would start off difficult. The only problem is we tried to start this 4 times before and always stopped it for all sorts of different reasons. Like, we tried it with Lampard, where we had a transfer ban. We're like, okay, now we start our whole project. Well, a year later, we signed 7 players, ruined the whole squad vibe, essentially. Half of them were awful. You know, then we sack another manager. We buy new players that don't work. We sack another manager after we just bought the new manager, 2 players on deadline day. What do you expect, man? It's what it is. It's unfortunately what it is, no matter who the manager would be, in my opinion. But hey, boys, what did you think of the team when it came out? I'll start with you, Pies. 3-4-3. We were pretty convinced of this. The surprising part to me was that Ziyech started and Gallagher didn't. But Ziyech weren't bad. Like, you can't complain too hard, can you? But what did you make of the team, mate?
Sorry, I'm just trying to get it up again, because I've literally forgot.
It's on screen, bro.
All right. Don't know why I'm looking at my phone, but okay. I mean, the thing for me was obviously Ziyech. I think that's another thing I'm quite disappointed with today, even though he played all right. I think obviously that story was run by The Athletic, that obviously we specifically told Hutchinson not to report to Jamaica, even though he was called up, because, you know, we wanted him in the squad. And I think that's, if you're not going to play him, at least, you know, even bring him on off the bench, you know, 10, 15 minutes. Like, just go and let the kid play his football for his country, man. Like, I don't.
The fact that he brought
understand
Havertz on for Lewis Hall, like, what the fuck? Come on, what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, the rest of the team didn't really have too much complaints, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think it was pretty expected, to be fair, apart from obviously Lewis Hall, which was great to see him in there, but not too many complaints.
No, fair play. Aaron, your thoughts when you saw the team? Any big shocks to you? Not really, was there? Other than, I guess, Lewis Hall, but we knew that a couple of hours before, didn't we?
Yeah, I think it's only the Ziyech thing, really. I didn't really expect him to start, but more so than anything, it's just such disappointment to not see Amari Hutchinson feature at all, because he's been featured on the bench a few times now, and he still hasn't had his run out. So I was quite disappointed with that. But other than that, it wasn't too disappointed or anything with the team.
There you go. Fair play. Fair play. Well, let's get into the team. Let's get into the game. I mean, it was 0-0 at half time, wasn't it? And, well, City had a couple of chances, but nothing outrageously big. We were the ones that had the big chances. Pulisic, relatively early on, assisted by Ziyech, had an absolute sitter. I think actually puts it wide, it gets deflected and then hits the target, but the keeper saves it. And then Lewis Hall, just before the break, the composure that he let, like, Laporte just fly into no man's land was outrageous, but then just got baited by the goalie. You know what? City's backup goalie, this Stefan Ortega guy, bloody hell, he's good. How's that happened then? Until I saw him in FIFA, when I got FIFA and I packed some German goalkeeper at City, I was like, who's this then? First time seeing him play, I'm like, fair play, you know, he's not bad, is he? But yeah, and then we give away a free kick. Unfortunately, Chalobah gives away the free kick. And Koulibaly decides not to jump. We're 1-0 down and we're screwed. And then we concede a counter-attack. Ruben just ruins our own counter-attack. Pass it to Pulisic under a lot of pressure. Could he do better? I don't know. I think it's more Ruben's fault. And then, one switch of the ball. Mahrez is one of the best touches you'll see, and go, essentially. And then it's game over. We had our chances still at the end, but again, boys, even if we got the 2-1, did you really believe we were going to get a 2-2? And even then, we're going to go to penalties with Mendy in goal. But we're going to lose anyway. Like, once it was 2-0, it was done. Let's be honest. But let's get into it. I just touched on Mendy. We didn't have to go to penalties, thankfully. But he had an interesting performance because he pulled off... honestly, that save in his bottom right corner was one of the best saves you'll ever see. That is a ridiculous save. He had a couple of good ones to his left as well. I still, as much as Koulibaly, of course, should have jumped, I'm still like, well, but why didn't Mendy jump either? And he did the same thing for Gundogan's free kick in the first half, which you could put it just over. Mendy's just stood there. I mean, bro, as if you don't know where the ball's going. Like, I understand maybe he knows he won't get in there anyway. But that free kick by Mahrez wasn't anywhere near the top corner. If Mendy jumps, he gets it. Maybe he's scared that Mahrez puts it on the goalkeeper side, and then he looks like an idiot flying in the other corner because obviously he can't really see the ball, can he, through the ball? But still, man, like, come on. Isn't your job as a goalkeeper being able to read where the guy's going to shoot from his body language? Like, isn't that, you can't just stand there. And Mendy has a tendency to do that for free kicks, unfortunately. Mendy's somehow worse at these free kicks than Kepa. At least Kepa tries, do you know what I mean? But that 1-1 save was still ridiculous. So I don't really know what to make of him. So he had his good moments, some very good moments. He had some more bad moments. Do we end up as a 6? I'd probably say 6.5. Because I think that save was so good that I want to give him just above average. Aaron, what would you give him?
I think I'd go on the other side of the spectrum and go 5.5. We know what Mendy's kicking is like, and his kicking today was fucking awful. First 2 minutes, he's pissing about at the back with the ball, and then Alvarez is closing him down, and it comes off him. But on another day, if you kick that against a player and they stick their leg out in the right way, that can easily go into the back of your own net. So that was already only 2 minutes in. And then there's a lot of times, I remember one ball he tried to play out wide towards Ruben, and he put such little power in it that Grealish managed to get a header on it, and they put him in a dangerous position. So his distribution today was shocking as always. I think he did make that good save, but that free kick, honestly, like, just as much as it is Koulibaly's fault for not jumping in the wall, Mendy's just standing there like an idiot. And I get what you're saying about, if he doesn't move just in case he goes the other side, and he makes himself look stupid. But he looks even more stupid the fact that he's gone where it's gone and he hasn't moved at all. So I'd go 5. You know what? No, 5. Not even 5.5. 5.
Fair. Pice, what about you?
For Mendy, yeah, I think 6.5 is pretty good. I think he gets above average just because I think his saves were good. I'm not sure on the second goal though, because I don't know whether it's just unlucky, like good, obviously positioning from the attacker, but kind of did push it straight out to him.
Did the shot from Mahrez take a deflection, or did Mendy?
No, it didn't. It was much worse from Cucurella, because the one thing you do not do as a defender against a left-footed attacker is let him cut in and shoot on your left foot. Emerson used to do this all the time. Alonso used to do it. He let him cut in and shoot, and we conceded from it. So it was more down to Cucurella, but Mendy did make a lot of saves. It could have been more if it wasn't for him. So I'm going to go with a 6.5.
Fair dues. Give it a 6 overall then with Aaron's 5. Fair enough. Let's get to Cucurella. Absolutely. Should do better there. I think outside of that was actually good today. I was pretty happy with a lot of the things. The way we passed out from the press with him and Hall on the side, I thought was pretty impressive at times, if anything. And some of the aggressive defending I enjoyed. It's quite good. Not really sure how much to take off for, obviously, what he did for the second goal. It's a tough one. Pice, do you want to go first on this one? What would you give Cucurella? Did you even agree that outside of that he was good, or do you think he wasn't?
Cucurella, I thought he was good in moments. I think he saved us
that tackle where we thought maybe a penalty. That's an outrageously good tackle.
Yeah, that was a great tackle, but he kind of, did himself no favors with the defending for the second goal, so it kind of cancelled that out, in my opinion. I don't know, 5.5 probably, I'd say.
Okay, Aaron, what about you?
I think I'd just go bog standard 6. Even though I was impressed, he looked a lot better than he has done in the past. I think especially that last ditch challenge just to get the ball. A lot of people, when I first saw it, I thought maybe a penalty, but he did well to get the ball there. But I think, as you said, the defending for the second goal does cancel that out. So I think it just stays at a bog standard 6.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think his performance overall is probably like a in my opinion, at least, like a 7, and I'll take like a 0.5 off for the goal. So 6.5. You sit at a 6 overall with 1 5.5, 1 6.5, and 1 6 in the middle. Let's get to Koulibaly, shall we? Wow. Like, there was moments where he defended well, where he did good things, where he was strong and everything. But my God, like, we basically, obviously, that you don't know for sure. Even maybe if he jumps and clears the free kick, we concede from a completely separate situation 2 minutes later. You never know for sure. But in that moment, we were in the game. Like, obviously, City were heavily dominating us at the beginning of the second half, but it was 0-0, everything to play for. We had the better chance in the first half. And then to literally, essentially lose the game, like Man City, the way they are, as soon as you 1-0 down, and even, like, for Chelsea, that's a problem against anyone anyway. But against Man City, it's even worse. And to go 1-0 down just because your leading defender, essentially, can't be bothered to jump in the wall for a free kick. And didn't we have someone lying behind the wall again anyway? So what purpose can you possibly get from not jumping? Like, that pissed me right off, honestly. Not really sure. I'm really disappointed by that. So I'm going to say 4. His overall performance is probably like somewhere around the 6 plus that. And maybe the 4 is then a bit too extreme. But it just pissed me off so much. That's what I'm going to say. You know, if anyone doesn't like it, deal with it, quite frankly. Aaron, what about you?
I'm tempted to do it even lower because I remember the challenge that he made for the free kick that Gundogan took in the first half. That was very like dangerously close to being like last man and potential red card. So it was a lot of recklessness in that situation as well. So I think I'd probably go for like.
To be fair, if he doesn't make the tackle, Grealish probably scores. So you know.
Yeah, but it's still very reckless. Like, if he's putting himself in that situation and he's the last man, he could have got himself sent off. But that free kick thing, like, I saw it straight away. I know on the group you said like you saw it a little bit later, but I saw it straight away and I just thought, what the fuck are you doing? Like, seriously, literally the whole wall has jumped other than him, and it's because he doesn't jump that Mahrez scores. So I'd say probably like a 3 or a 3.5. Fucking, I don't know, take your pick, 3, 3.5, something like that.
3, 3.5, you say?
Yeah, fucking 3.
Fair dues. Price, what about you? What would you give Koulibaly then?
I don't know. I'll say like his overall performance, like you said, was probably around a 6, but the things he did kind of cost us. So yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Like, he needs to calm down with his tackles as well, man. He's so rash. Like, just chill. Rudiger used to be exactly the same, and then he kind of, calmed down, or at least timed him better.
Yeah,
it's okay to have aggression, but do it at the right time. Like, Chalobah's one as well was absolutely ridiculous. Why does he need to do that?
And that's the free kick we conceded from in the end.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like, it's just stupid. So I'm up for going with whatever, to be honest. I don't know whether it's a 4 or a 3 or a 5. I'll just go 4, I think.
Okay, give him a 3.5 then, just to, sit somewhere in the middle. And indefinite, you basically super chatted the same thing twice. I do apologize. You probably did that because I didn't highlight the first one soon enough. I was going to get to it, don't worry. But hey, in the end, I appreciate you donating twice. I appreciate it very much. Even if I think you're a little bit harsh and too negative in your super chat, but I'll read it out. Experimental manager with experimental players, experimental tactics, and experimental play. Potter's best finishes 9th with no trophies, no pedigree. Well, actually, he won a trophy, won the Swedish Cup, but apparently that doesn't count. So which leagues do count? Does Gerrard for Rangers count, or does that not count, or which ones do count? I wonder which ones. Or are we only allowed to get Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp in the future? And then you basically said the same thing again. What did we all expect? I don't think any of that. I mean, experimental manager, you can say that absolutely at this level. We don't know how well it's going to go. Experimental players, well, I don't know if it's experimental players, but the tactics, I disagree. That's not experimental. He does have a plan. You might not like the plan, but he does have a plan of how he wants to get there.
Didn't we not go? Sorry, didn't we not go with? So when we made those first initial subs, right, we went to a 4 at the back.
No,
and then I think we did, and then because everyone was tweeting it, and then all of a sudden we made another sub.
And
because Azpi came on for Chalobah, but I think Azpi initially just played right centre
back.
back.
I was confused why.
And then they switched, and Ruben played right centre back, and Azpi played wing back for some reason. At the very end.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was confused because Pulisic went left wing back, but then I was reading it was 4. I don't know. I was confused.
You know when Hall came off for Havertz. Obviously, Havertz wasn't going to play left wing back, and Hall came off. So someone had to, I guess, in that moment. I guess I could have switched to back four, absolutely, but did it matter in that situation? Like when we didn't have the ball, we were deep, and when we had the ball, Pulisic was high enough up the pitch. So I don't think for the last 10 minutes there it mattered much, quite frankly. But yeah, I do agree. It is a bit odd. But yeah, definitely, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I mean, Aaron, do you want to react to the super chat at all? Like, do you see it this badly as well? Like, were you this negative when we appointed Potter? Because all these things were true before. Now the results aren't the way you want them to be, and now you're losing your mind. Like, Aaron, what do you think?
No, I think the super chats are way too reactionary because we still, obviously, no matter what the results are right now and how annoyed we are by them, he is still a work in progress, and we do have to give it time. He has to be able to implement his system and find the plays that he wants, etc. So it is going to take time. It's not just going to be a straight away thing. But obviously, like when you've lost a game like that, your emotions do come into play a bit. But I do think it's a bit too reactionary to be saying that.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Let's get to Trevor Chalobah. He was taken off for the first time. I feel like this was the first time he didn't play the full game since Fofana got injured, which is crazy anyway. Poor guy, honestly. My guy is never getting a rest. At least, well, I say at least. He should be going to the World Cup, in my opinion. But, hey, probably isn't. So I guess he has plenty of time to recover after playing a lot of games recently. But what did I make of his performance? I'm not really sure. Other than that foul, which obviously in the end gave away the goal. But, you know, Koulibaly can still just jump and Mendy can still just jump. So as much as it's a bad tackle, in my opinion, you can't just blame Chalobah for the goal then. But outside of that, I didn't really notice him too much. Obviously, City got through our right-hand side with Ruben and Chalobah too often. And it's then difficult, like, do you only blame Ruben for it? Do you blame Ruben and Chalobah? Do you maybe include Zakaria in that a little bit because he's the right-sided centre mid and they usually need to help out the right-sided defensive situation when they're getting overloaded, which we did. So I don't really know what I want to put Chalobah down to. Like somewhere around the 6, 5.5, 6-ish is what I would say. Pies, what about you?
Chalobah, I almost want to just go for like a 5 because that tackle was so dumb. But other than that, I thought it was okay. But I don't know, man. Like these things kind of just cost us the game. So like it's so stupid. It's one of the worst. Honestly, I you know, some tackles you kind of see on a replay and you go, oh, you know, it's a bad tackle, but I can see why he's kind of gone for it. He's just completely missed the ball. This one, it's like it's pure panic, and he's just literally flew in on him. Like, what did he expect to happen? Like, I have to go over 5. I think.
Okay, Aaron, what would you give him?
Yeah, same. Probably a 5, just because the tackle was so rash and so stupid, and it's led to a goal. Obviously, the way in which they scored the free kick isn't really anything to do with him, but the fact they have a free kick in the first place is. So you do have to take marks off, obviously, for
Would
that.
any of us even mention it, though, if Koulibaly just jumps and heads the free kick away? Probably we don't even remember that tackle.
Oh, obviously, but the fact that he didn't kind of then plays into the fact that Chalobah has to take them.
It's true.
But it's one of those things where that's not his fault, but giving away the free kick is, so it swings in roundabouts. But yeah, the right side was quite heavily exposed. I think Grealish looked like fucking Almiron. He was taking a piss out of him, and now he actually looks like him for once. So, but that was down to the fucking right hand side. The right hand side was a piece of shit most of the game. So he's also part of that, as is Ruben, as is Ziyech, as is Zakaria to an extent. So it's it wasn't particularly great. So I'll probably go with a 5 as well.
Fair dues, yeah, I would probably say 5.5. But hey, you got that's outvoted then, obviously. But just because I think Cucurella was quite a bit better than Chalobah, therefore I don't want to give them the same rating. Here we are. Let's just finish that right side off. Finish that depression basically. Ruben, it wasn't it. I mean, I thought he got better as the second half went on, even though of course he ruined that counter attack and that led to the second goal. That was one bad moment, obviously, in the second half. But otherwise, maybe a little bit better in the second half. It was really poor, man. Like he just, I don't know, like he played so well as a right wing back on these few occasions under Thomas Tuchel. Now, of course, there were games in which we were very much on the front foot. That game against Southampton, what did we win? That 6-0 or something? We won it by quite a margin anyway. I can't remember how much it was. But then obviously that game at the Bernabeu and a few other occasions, of course, earlier this season as well. But it was always when we were playing attacking. Now, obviously, we were pretty defensive for the most part. And like you guys touched on earlier, trying to play on a counter attack quite a lot. Obviously, then Ruben is going to struggle more. And so he did. 4.5, 4, something like that. Aaron, what would you give him?
3.5. I don't know. Probably he was. Yeah, he was shit. Fucking hell, he was bad. I don't have much else to say other than he was shit. Because if I start getting into a rant, it's going to be a long one. So we've got 3.5. He was shit.
Hey, you can rant if you fancy it. You can.
If I fancied it, trust me, I would have gone on for one by now. But
there you go, bad play. But Paz, 3.5, 4.5, 4 overall for the time being. What would you give him?
Yeah, it's got to be like a 3.5, something like that. I don't know, because like I almost want to go like a tad higher, because I don't think he was helped out great like defensively in terms of Ziyech, especially in that first half. I think obviously he was getting double teamed, he couldn't really do it, and he's obviously I have to keep reminding myself, obviously he's not really a natural defender anyway, and he's not a wing back, but he's more than experienced enough by now. So yeah, I'll give him a 4. Yeah.
Okay, fair dues. By the way, Liverpool against Derby is currently on penalties. Both have so far actually. We have Liverpool won now.
Liverpool
won like ages ago, I think.
Did they?
Yeah.
Why is my phone sending me random notifications right now then? I do apologise. Well, that is unfortunate, but at least I'm a little bit, because I thought, oh, maybe Derby might win this, because I thought they were on penalties still. I don't know why. Obviously, the games are long done, aren't they? Well, obviously, Arsenal lost, Spurs lost, I'm pretty sure.
Liverpool won't lose penalties because their keeper's a monster on penalties.
Yeah, it's true. I don't even know who played for them, but pissing me off anyways. But hey, there we are. Ruben Loftus-Cheek gets a 4. Weren't good today. But the one big positive of the day, and no matter how negative you guys are, I'm not letting you, intoxicate this Lewis Hall performance with your negativity. Absolutely not. He was an absolute superstar out there today. Now, I don't know why my commentators on DAZN Germany kept saying that this was his first start for Chelsea when it really wasn't, because he started in the Carabao Cup last season away at Brentford. Like, I swear on my life he did. So I don't understand why they're saying this. Didn't even start 2 games. I thought he started 2. Maybe it was just 1 and the other one was from the bench. I don't know. But anyways, not his first start, but wow. I mean, naturally, being that young, you'd expect him to get better at that age, but still, he was already good last year. I mean, he was man of the match in that game against Brentford, I'm pretty sure. But that today was outrageous. Honestly, in every sense of the word, the passing, the pace, the strength, the confidence, the trickery, the skill, the vision. Big fan. Not always perfect defensively, but only naturally. He's naturally a midfielder. Although when I see him play here, are we sure he's naturally a midfielder? Maybe, Reece James started his career off as a midfielder. Now he's not. Are we sure Lewis Hall will always be a midfielder? Maybe not. I'm just saying. Wow, that was honestly unbelievable. But then you obviously have to talk about the 2 negatives, because he had 2, even bigger chances than Pulisic did, quite frankly. I mean, like I said, the composure to Laporte just sailing to no man's land was wonderful. But then put it far corner, or put it high enough so the keeper can't reach it. And the second one, just no clear connection, unfortunately. Gutting that one, and obviously has to lower the formation, the performance, the rating a little bit. I'm not really sure how high to go, because for him making his second start, I think, for Chelsea and playing against an opponent like Man City, I want to go really high with it, but at the same time, I don't want to go too high, overdoing it a little bit. So, you know what? Even with the misses, I will give him an. Am I going too high if I say 8? I genuinely think he deserves that. Maybe that's too high. I say 7.5 and take 0.5 off for each miss. I would have probably given him a flat 8.5 without the misses. I still give him a 7.5. I haven't seen the chat yet, or what you guys have to say. But I think it warrants that. An absolute superstar today. Absolutely brilliant. And I genuinely mean that, because isn't his contract running out at the end of the season or soon anyway? Like, we need to.
No, he signed a new 3-year deal.
Oh, did he? Good stuff. Yeah. Like, we need to keep him as well. I know we spent 110 million on left backs and left wing backs, so that obviously makes Lewis Hall's day a bit more difficult to get in. But hey, if he's just better than Chilwell and Cucurella, well, then just play him instead of them. I don't really care, do I? So absolutely phenomenal. Good stuff. I'm very happy. Pies. Don't let the negativity influence you. Lewis Hall was great today, wasn't he?
He was very good. I think those missed chances. The first one on his weaker foot, I thought he was going to drill it across goal, but then I think he did well to see the defender coming off. And yeah, I mean, the second one, by the way, I thought that was a great save. I know he didn't get the greatest connection on it, but I think it was still a great save.
Yeah,
the goalie was very, very good in general. Yeah. I was going to go an 8. I think he could have easily been like a 9 or a 10 had we just based off individual performance if he actually bagged the goal. But I think he deserves it because
you guys
he's
would be
18.
So negative, you'd laugh me out the park if I give him an 8.
No, he's 18, man, and he's not even playing his natural position. He plays as a centre mid in the youth team, so it's very, very good. He looked great on the ball. He looked so comfortable. His turn of pace to get past the players when someone was pressing him was really, really impressive, and he played a couple of really nice passes as well. So, yeah, I want to see him more. I hope this isn't a game where we don't see him again for months. He really, honestly, he looked like if you could out there tonight. What was the difference between him and Chilwell? Like I can't see it. He looked way more athletic.
He was miles better. Like,
yeah, exactly.
He looked more comfortable, like with receiving the ball, with using both feet. Like he looked like better at everything. Oh, I'll be honest, everything looked better. It's crazy. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because now I've said this on Twitter as well, and people have told me, I don't know who you were talking to, but they disagree. But I've had people that watch the youth team a lot more than I do. Like I ask questions like, why are the youth team struggling as much as they are? Obviously, they're going out of the UEFA Youth League and stuff multiple years in a row. And they tell me, like, Lewis Hall's good, but he's not that special. And then when I see him play today, I'm like, sorry. Now, some other people say that they heavily disagree with that. That's fair enough. There's not an opinion everyone shares, of course not. And I haven't watched him in a youth team. I'll be completely transparent with that, so I don't know. But what I've seen from him in the Chelsea shirt on those 3 occasions that I have seen him, he was good every time. So, yeah. I hope we use him more, but again, it's just unfortunate we have Cucurella and Chilwell. It's combined 110 million in basically his position. That is obviously a bit of an issue. But Aaron, do you think we're going too high with the 8? How happy were you with him?
I think I've just found my new favourite left back at this club. This man is not even this man. This boy is sensational. Fucking hell! How can he put 2 left backs who are combined worth 110 million pounds, 100 million British pounds sterling, and this man from the youth academy looks better than both of them? He was so good today. Obviously, the missed chances are disappointing, but he's young. It's shit like that can happen. It's on his weaker foot both times, so it's one of them where you have to bury them. Whether you're an 18-year-old or fucking seasoned veteran, you still have to be finishing that you're a professional footballer at the end of the day. But other than that, fucking hell, he was good. He was so good. I'd probably give him like a 8.5. I thought he was sensational. Man of the match.
Fair dues, hey, going even higher. Fair play. We'll keep
he was a man of the match for Chelsea by a country mile. And if that fucking Ortega wasn't, that Ortega, fucking hell, he's good as well. How is their second choice keeper so good? But if he wasn't as good as he is, and they had their keeper from last season, that fucking Stefan geezer, fucking hell, with Lewis Hall would have had a brace.
Yeah, we would have switched them, honestly.
If it was like Zach Stefan, Lewis Hall would have had a brace today if Zach Stefan was in goal. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Which just makes the whole thing even more gutting because then you guys would we'd all sit here and be absolutely gassed over the moon. We're like, can't be Arsenal, can't be Brighton, but at least we can beat City and we're flying. But it's a tough one. Now, Zakaria was certainly the more defensive between himself and Kovacic today. Played like they showed a real-time formation thing on the zone, and it was very interesting. It was almost like that. It was very fascinating. Like, and we overload the left all the time. Like, it was honestly like this, and then Ziyech and Ruben were over there, kind of just by themselves. That was kind of the team. Was the real-time formation. Fascinating, but weird in comparison to the Zagreb game. Now, obviously, much different opponent, but I'm not sure about you guys, but I didn't really notice Zakaria that much today. Like, there was a few occasions where you see him sprint and you're like, boy, he is quick. And he had a couple of like okay tackles in there. But for the most part, I just felt he's kind of struggled to really get into the game. Just because I didn't notice him, like he didn't really get on the ball in position. He didn't really manage to win the ball back ever out of position. So not awful, but like in terms of not awful in the sense that I saw him make individual errors, other than one absolutely shocking pass where he tried to play not even that far to Ruben, and he literally nearly punted it out the stadium. But hey, not really sure what rating I'd want to give him, to be honest. Pice, what would you say?
Zakaria, I didn't think he looked good tonight. Didn't think he looked good at all. I think he looked way behind the pace. I didn't really see that same athleticism tracking back. He wasn't getting anywhere near the City players. I'm going to give him a 4. I don't think he was good at all.
Okay. 4. Aaron, what about you? Did you think it was as bad as a 4? What would you give Zakaria?
No, I was quite disappointed because obviously the performance that he gave against Zagreb, I went and saw it live and I thought, fucking hell, this guy's really good. And then today he's turned up and really not look good at all. But I'd probably go for the same, about a 4. I just didn't really notice him much. Like, to be so honest with you, I didn't really see much of him at all. So that was quite disappointing.
But isn't the 4 a bit harsh if you didn't notice him?
No, but as in the 4 isn't harsh in the sense I didn't notice him, because if I'm not noticing you much, the bits that I do notice, you're not particularly doing much. So especially when they were able to get through so easily, it's kind of like you, as the deeper of the two midfielders, you're expected to show your physicality a bit and be able to sort of put in a challenge or break up the play. I can't even remember him putting in a single challenge. That's literally like what I'm talking about. Like, I can't remember.
I mean, I can take a look at the stats because honestly, I'm
He
struggling.
made a
to really-
couple. He made a couple of interceptions. There was one tackle, but I just noticed him tracking back. I didn't notice that same level of like intensity, physicality.
I mean, here it says tackle 0 out of 0. Blocks he had 1, clearance 1, headed clearance 1, interceptions 4, recoveries 3, ground duels 2 out of 3, and he wasn't apparently in any aerial duels. It's not exactly great. I don't know. I've 87% pass completion, but it's 13 out of 15 as the deepest midfielder to only attempt 50 passes. I know it's because obviously City dominated. Well, how much possession did they have? I mean, it's 55 against 45. It isn't even that extreme, actually. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to go that low, I think, because I only give like 4s if I notice you do things wrong, and I didn't. So I'll give him a 5 from my end. But that doesn't mean he was any good, quite frankly. Let's get to Mateo Kovacic. A very hot and cold performance, this, because he nearly cost us a goal on 2 occasions, just losing the ball, which he needs to stop doing, though. It's like, I almost felt like I was watching Pedro. He kept running and running and running, and then he made the most obvious pass of literally all time, and City just intercepted and basically went over the goalkeeper. And who was it? Was that the one Cucurella bailed us out of, or was that Koulibaly that bailed us out of that one? No, I think it was Cucurella. That was the one where you might have thought it was a pen, but it was a great tackle instead. So that was lucky. But there was good moments as well. I'll give him a 5.5. Maybe I should give him a 5. I'm not sure. Aaron, what would you say?
I'd probably go more towards the 4.5. I think out of the 2 midfielders playing, you're the more experienced one. You're captain for the day. It was just really disappointing a lot of the times when you see, like, as you said, he's making these predictable passes. The intercepting it is kind of like, that's so avoidable, and you're putting us in a situation where Cucurella literally has to bail you out, and if he doesn't, then they have a very good chance of scoring. So I was quite disappointed with him today because I didn't see a lot of that drive either, where he normally picks up the ball and takes it on. And the one time that he had a really good one, it was such a poor pass. He had Broja running through, he had Pulisic off to the right. And granted, I didn't think that Pulisic really ran with him either to give him like the best option for a pass. But same way, you can't be messing that pass up, even if it is sort of playing it slightly diagonal as the instead of going forward. You still have to make that pass. So I think I was quite disappointed with him today. So I'd go 4.5.
Okay, and a couple of people in the chat asking, wasn't Kovacic named to be a player looking to leave? Does Kova definitely want to leave? I personally don't think so. Now, obviously, I could be wrong. To me, these types of stories, they just feel like the typical thing that comes out when things are going badly. Like the fans are jumping on the manager and on the ownership. Obviously, that doesn't help, which is why I'm trying to go against it. But hey, people think what they think. And the media are starting to do the same thing. I think it's just a typical thing that comes out when managers are under pressure. It's like everyone all of a sudden wants to leave. Well, and then people are like, oh, the dressing room, the training ground atmosphere isn't good. I'm like, well, I fucking hope not. We lost 3 games in a row. If the training ground atmosphere was good, I'd be seriously concerned. But hey, you said 4.5. Maybe I'll go down to a 5. I'm not sure yet. I'll let Pice help me decide. Pice, what did you make of Kovacic? What would you rate him?
I'd probably go for like. No, I'd probably go for like a 4 as well. To be honest, I don't think he was
really fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think he was any better than Zakaria. I think he maybe even had worse moments in terms of losing the ball. I think he overrun the ball too much. I think he should have played the pass to Broja. The only thing I was thinking was like. I don't know why, because he like bent his leg back like he was gonna pass it and then just kept like he stopped for like a second.
Yeah.
He must have thought Broja was offside or something, because he like over the last sort of year he's always played those passes.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he didn't.
Broja's left foot because Broja seems quite.
I'd love to ask him why he didn't play it, but yeah, we will never know. But I'd go for a 4, to be honest. I don't think he was great. Yeah, I didn't really want him to start in this game, to be quite honest with you. But, because I want him to start against Newcastle. I think he's pushing it a bit when he's Croatia's, one of the absolute starters with Modric.
I guess maybe he doesn't start against Newcastle, but who knows?
I mean, that would just be...
I mean, if he plays like he did today, like making those errors, we're not exactly missing much.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have 2 bad games in a row, though, so I'd be surprised.
That's true. I mean, we'll have to see. It's a tough one. I mean, we touched on that yesterday in the preview, didn't we? Like, we're playing this now Wednesday night. We'll play again Saturday evening. Like, is that point even going home? I don't know if they are or not. I have no idea. But yeah, fair enough. In the end, we sit there with 2 4.5 ratings for midfield. So that kind of explains a lot. But I will also say, like, the fact that İlkay Gündoğan is not a starter at Man City and plays the games where they rotate, to me, is crazy. Like, I'm not sure. I think it was you, Aaron, that said maybe his contract runs out at the end of the year. Like, I know he's not necessarily the type of midfielder we're necessarily looking for, but what a player he is, honestly. Like, Pies, you were saying recently, like, we need like a backup to Kova who's also good, like, and has similar traits to Kova. Honestly, Gündoğan is an absolute, like, the movement that guy has, the way he passes and moves, and then somehow is a number 8, even playing in a double pivot, and becomes a constant goal threat. It's ridiculous to me. What a player he is. Fair play. All right, then. Let's get to Hakim Ziyech. Now, I wasn't particularly happy when he started. I said yesterday I don't really want him to play for Chelsea anymore. It's a weird performance from him, because there was moments where I'm like, come on, help out defensively a little bit more, man. At the same time, that turn after another bad pass by Ruben, which he overhit, that turn to then assist Lewis Hall's second big chance, like, that's outrageous that he does that. Then that Cruyff turn in our own box, outrageous as well. And he obviously went for that loose ball shot after a corner that he unfortunately sliced over. I'm not really sure what to think, because he wasn't amazing, but he should have had 2 assists, because he assisted Pulisic, who missed the sitter, and he assisted Lewis Hall, who missed the sitter. So I'm not really sure. I almost want to give him like a 6, if I'm honest. Like, I mean, if those 2 put it in, where like Ziyech was great, assisted 2 goals, so creative, blah, blah, blah. So I think just because we lost, we shouldn't take that away from him. That's not his fault that those guys missed those chances. But then, was he still great otherwise? No. So that's why I say at a 6. So, Aaron, do you think I'm being nice on this one, or would you agree?
I don't know, actually. I think that turn was, like, McGee's spin was outrageous. It was literally like, it was literally the exact same thing as Berbatov, just on the other side. Like, there was no space to get that wrong, and somehow he managed to do it. And I don't know if he actually nutmegged the defender doing it as well. I think he might have done. But
yeah, he did.
It was outrageous. And then it set up the chance for Lewis Hall. So I think he had moments in the game where he was very good, but I think there was also moments in the game where he gave no support to Ruben on that right side, and then they kept doubling up. And I said it in the group as well. It was like Grealish and Sergio Gomez are literally just going down that left side, and Ruben's having to defend 2-on-1. When you've got the right winger there, the right winger needs to be dropping back and helping him out a bit, because otherwise they were just overloading that side, and that's why Grealish had so much joy to a certain extent. So there was there was elements of his game that were good, but there were elements that were bad. But for a Ziyech performance, I was surprised that it wasn't completely shit. So I'd probably go for like a 6 as well.
It's interesting that a lot of people in the chat absolutely smoking us. There's 2.8, 6 is very unfair. Ziyech minimum 7.5. What the F? Like 6, lol. Like with 2 assists, he would have got a 7.5, 6.5 at least. There we go. 6, ha ha ha. 6, what? Like what the F, y'all haters? 7, 7.5, 8, 8, 7.5, 7.5. Are we off the mark, Price? Or would you also go along the line of a 6?
Wasn't that good, man? Like he was pretty wasteful until he did that turn and played that ball in the box. Other than that, I don't think he was that great. I think,
And the assist to Pulisic, obviously.
yeah, but I don't know. I think people were kind of bricking Pulisic for that. But was that the one where he slid in? Was that the same one and he missed, or was he talking about the offside goal?
No, the first one where he shot basically in front of an empty goal, but puts it wide. Then he gets deflected and the keeper saves it. I think you might have forgotten that chance. Put on Twitter, Pulisic miss, and you'll see it.
Where the young left back blocked it.
The right back basically blocked it.
All right,
I basically scuffed it, and then as he's
he's basically
I remember.
He just has to tap it in.
I remember the chance. I didn't realise Ziyech was the one who passed it. I'll give him a 6.5. I don't think it was too far above average. But actually, you know what? Maybe a 7 because 2 big chances. I think that's quite harsh on him just to go a bit above average. So I'll go a 7. But it's not like, I don't know, I wasn't amazed. You know, I wouldn't be, okay, we've got 100% start him now. Like, no. But he did a little bit better than what I thought he was going to do. Especially because he hasn't played in a while, I guess. But yeah, I think that in the first half, obviously, he wasn't tracking back, but in the second half, he definitely was tracking back. So I saw him at least 2 times in our own box. So I liked that he didn't sulk about that, because he quite easily could just fucking not care now. But I liked that he kind of listened, I guess. And
this is the frustrating thing with Hakim Ziyech. So by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I will let your opinion influence the rating here. Let's give him a 7. You guys at least made your voices very heard, that you think it should be higher rated, so we will raise it a little bit.
Can I then take mine down to like a 5 to even it back out to a 6?
Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron does not rate you at all. Aaron does not rate you guys at all, so apparently I'm giving him a 6.5 again.
I can work with that. Sorry,
say what?
I said I can work with that, but 7, no, I'm not having that. 7 is
fair enough. But yeah, it's a weird one with Ziyech because we know he wants to leave. He posts him scoring for Ajax against Chelsea, where it's a bit weird. And then all you hear about him is that he wants to leave. He's not bothered about nothing. And then you finally give him a chance, and he does certain things where I'm like, no one else in our team does these things. Like no one does them. No one can do them. But still, 2 managers now, arguably 3, because I guess he was injured a lot under Lampard, but still, 2 managers basically don't play you ever. So what do you, why? There's got to be a reason for this. I know he's obviously heavily left-footed and stuff, but we're lacking creators so badly. He's the one creator that we would have, but the managers don't seem interested. So it is what it is, I suppose.
It's just inconsistent, bro.
It's true, but inconsistent is also at this point difficult because I swear the guy's played a total of 5 games in the whole of 2022. That's what it feels like.
He's such a moments player. I guarantee you, I was going to say starting for the next 3 games, but obviously we've only got 1 more left until the World Cup. Yeah. But after the World Cup, if you played him for 4 games in a row, I reckon he'd have maybe 1.5 game where we're like, wow, he was brilliant today, and that's just that's the facts for a lot of them. So that's why he doesn't really start a lot. So that's what it is.
No, it's true. Let's get to Christian Pulisic then. Another weird one. Missed that huge chance. Pice didn't quite see it as big of a chance. I'm not sure if I'm the one.
No, it was. I've just completely. I remember it now. I forgot it before. It was a big chance.
Fair play. Yeah, a huge chance that one. Had the one moment similar like the Kovacic one where he really should have played in Broja. Even that one was even more obvious that I'm like he needed to play that to Broja, and actually Broja would have been in a really good position. We know how fast Broja is as well. So I didn't really understand that one. He had that one good shot, which forced another good save from the keeper. But would it have been better to play in Lewis Hall? Maybe, but we'll never know for sure, I guess. So it's a mixed one because he obviously had the biggest chance. Well, not the biggest chance. Arguably, Lewis Hall's chance was even bigger. But Lewis Hall was 18 and the centre mid playing left wing back, ending up in the 6-yard box. Pulisic is, well, the guy who they always tell me, or the Pulisic stands tell me is the best finish at the club. So, yeah. But he wasn't bad. Like, he was active. He was trying things. Like, he was running around. He was carrying the ball, playing 1-2s. Like, not bad. So I don't really know what rating I want to give him, if I'm honest. Aaron, why don't I start with you? What would you give him?
I don't know. It's a very awkward one because there were some things that he did in the game which were actually good, but then the things that he did bad were just so bad, and it's like, like when someone does something good and then they do something bad, it normally tends to just even out. But when someone does something good and then someone does something really bad, then it just outweighs and it weighs on your conscience a lot more because then you think about it over what they did good. So I don't know, because the chance that we're talking about was like you're a professional footballer and you're crying out for minutes. You get your opportunity. That's your chance to take your opportunity and actually put the ball in the back of the net, which is what you're there to do, and you fuck it up from there, which is literally like a tap in, and you fuck that up. And then I'm sure there was something else. I can't remember it now, but there was something else that really pissed me off. But then there was moments where, it was when he's running through and he just decides not to play the ball to Broja when Broja's literally got the run on the defender and all he's got to do is just slip him in. But there was moments where he was like going on good dribbles, had a few attempts on goal that were saved by the keeper. So he did good things and did bad things, but just for the sake of neutrality, I'm just going to go for a 6.
Okay, fair enough. It's a weird one because obviously he also scored that offside goal very late where, well, he crossed the ball in and while crossing fell over, then was lying off the pitch, like behind the goal, comes back on, receives the ball, shoots. So I don't, you can't criticize him for that. He fell over while crossing because he had to lean so hard. It happens. Gets up, receives the ball, scores from offside position. And then he had the most outrageous save that Ortega pulled off was when Pulisic was offside anyway, so it wouldn't have stood. I think a Ruben shot that got deflected and ended up with Pulisic. He didn't save it. It wouldn't have counted anyway, but that was a ridiculous save. But yeah, okay, you gave him a 6, Pice. What about you? And Richard, I'll get to your super chat after talking about Pulisic. Pice, a 6 from Aaron. What would you give Pulisic?
6.5, I think. Had some good moments, but I won't quite go for the 7 I give Ziyech because I think he just messed up more opportunities. And yeah, it was positive, but again, just bored of it, bro. Inconsistent in the game. Some moments he's good, some moments he's bad. It's just boring. We've had it for so long, and just wasteful. So I can't go to. I want to go higher. I really want to, but it's just no point. He doesn't deserve it. With his overall performance, he cancels things out too much.
On this one, they think we're being way too nice. Kuzi saying 0 for Pulisic. Someone saying 6 for Pulisic, Ziyech 5. I mean, Ziyech has a 6.5 on screen, so I don't really know what you're talking about. I guess for Aaron.
The thing is with Pulisic, I feel like when he comes off the bench, he's just almost like too good. And then when he starts, it's like over the course of 90 minutes or even 70 or 80 minutes, or even sometimes 60, he doesn't quite sort of grab that spot. And I guess that's why he's never really held it down, I guess. I don't know. It's just a weird one.
Yeah, it is a weird one. I'll probably give him a 6, if I'm honest. I gave Ziyech 6.5 or 7. In the end, it didn't matter. But yeah, I'd probably give him a 6. We did say a 6 overall, but fair enough. Let's get to this super chat, and then we'll get to the next super chat by Richard as well. He says, Ziyech was a leading goal contributor under Tuchel until he got injured, and then oddly, he never saw the pitch again after. I'm not sure if that's true. Might be true. I can't remember it, that stat. But yeah, Ziyech had a few occasions where he was then all of a sudden playing well, or they're not playing anymore, and they're playing well, and they're not playing anymore. And like that pre-season, obviously, that after the Champions League win, Like, he was our best player in pre-season. He was by far our best player in the beginning of that Super Cup match, and then he dislocated his shoulder. And then we didn't see him for weeks. And that's what Richard is talking about. Unless you're talking about that season, because, I mean, that was one game of the season. So you can't say it was a really goal contributor after one game. But he did put us 1-0 up in that game. In the end, we won a penalty. But yeah, it's a weird one. It's absolutely a weird one. I'll get to your next super chat. Well, I think you're slightly off the mark, if I'm honest, bro. But I'll read it out. Mount runs around like a headless chicken when he plays and gets 8s. Meanwhile, players actually attack and create and get 6s. Maybe explains part of why England's last World Cup win was in the 1960s over high players. I mean, but you're American and you're trying to use this for Pulisic and Ziyech, and Morocco and USA have never won the World Cup. So I'm not sure if that World Cup example and analogy was the best thing to use, but sure. Now, I'm not sure which channel you've been watching, because I think Mount has got like 1 rating this season where he's gotten like an 8, maybe 2, but like he was probably good in those 2 games. Otherwise, we've not exactly been nice to Mount, if anything, this season, I would say. And he also wasn't good when he came on today. Like, I think we also can't get overboard. Like, do you know what I mean? And the next thing that I need to I mean, Aaron, Pice, do either of you want to react to this at all?
I mean, I think that generally applies to Twitter. I would agree. I think English players, or Mount in general, is quite protected. But you know, I think I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think on these player rating streams, we're often very, very fair and sometimes very, very harsh. So I don't think it quite applies to the stream. Don't check the chat too often, but maybe the chat is a little bit like this. But with me, you know, I'm never afraid to give Mount a low rating. I just call it how I see it every game.
Yeah, I mean, I try to as well. Obviously, we all have our preferences, and that will influence our decisions on those types of things. But hey, it is what it is. Before we do Broja quickly, this by Royston. Now, I didn't check it, but it says via XG Philosophy.
Yeah, that is right.
And this is why I'm saying we weren't that bad. Like, obviously, we still lost and we didn't take our chances, and I understand that's frustrating. But 2 of those, like a large chunk of that XG, was obviously for Lewis Hall, and we're like, well, he's 18, he's a wing back, usually a centre mid. How harsh am I going to be? And obviously, the Pulisic one, but we weren't that bad. Like, we kept City reasonably low. We should have comfortably stopped that first goal. If the first goal is stopped, don't concede the way we concede the second goal. So that's why I think we weren't that bad. That's why I think I would have, other than for the forwards, I went a bit higher with most of the ratings than you guys did. But hey, at the end of the day, I mean, actually, Pice, you were, well, no, both of you were equally as disappointed by this. Doesn't this tell you that we weren't that bad? Like, I'm not saying we were great. Not by any means am I trying to say we were great. But we can't have been that awful with these stats. Like, right?
We missed chances, but I don't see the big game mentality in our performance, bro. I don't know whether it's just because we're close to the World Cup and all that sort of thing.
Just the case because we didn't score? Because had any of those chances gone in, you would have said we turned up for the big game against City, right?
No, we didn't press well. Like, you have to. We didn't fight them. Like, we didn't get close to them.
You need to do against City, though. I think you can't press. You shouldn't press. And we didn't press in the Champions League final either, mind you.
I'm not making any more comments. Agree to disagree.
Fair enough.
Honestly, I'm just so annoyed with this team sometimes. I just don't. I don't personally get why some people can't see it, but maybe I'm missing stuff. I don't know. I don't feel
again,
that
I'm not
these big games, bro, like Arsenal, Man City. Do you honestly think we've done enough? Like does this like when you watch the team? Do you feel like it's a big game? I feel like this was just a fucking.
But today wasn't a big game. Today was the third.
It was a huge game. It was a massive game. It is. If we won this game, we literally would probably win the cup, bro. We would have probably won the cup if we won this game today. We literally would have knocked. It would have
penalties again, but
it would have been a massive statement. It would have been a reason to, if the overall performance was good, would be to get behind the manager more. But
no, it wouldn't be.
We lost.
Had we won, everyone would say, "Oh, it was just B Team City. It doesn't count. Who cares?" It's just everyone is always trying to turn the negative things. It's not a big game, bro. Both teams, like we started Lewis Hall. In Potter's mind, this game was less big than the Zagreb game, apparently.
We've literally, our trophy is gone because of this game. It is a big game.
That's true, but you can say that for every game, though, right?
Well, no, because you're only playing for 3 points, and the Premier League's longer. This is a knockout game, so it's a much bigger
If you
game.
lose the Premier League game and then you lose the title by 3 points, then that's where you lost.
We're nowhere near
title.
the title, so it's not really
No, of course not. Of course
it's
not.
not.
We're also nowhere near this title. Let's be honest. But
Well, we would have been if we beat City, 'cause it's the best team out. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely, I agree with that. 1,000,000%. Obviously, agree with that. But you can't say it's a big game, bro. It's the third round of the Carabao Cup. It's not a big game. It really isn't, in my opinion. Hey, we can have different opinions, I guess. I mean, Aaron, your reaction when you see that stat, you said is a correct stat. Does it not tell you, like, again, not that we were amazing, but that we can't exactly have been that bad?
Just to touch in on your little discussion there, I actually agree with Pius. I think it was a big game. That's just my personal opinion when you're playing against.
Yeah, I know you guys think that, but I've never seen a big game where both teams rotate.
But rotation aside, I think the thing you have to understand is, although it's only the third round, it's still the best team in the country, technically.
Still Man City against Chelsea, you know?
It's Man City against Chelsea, which is a huge game.
If this was the quarterfinal, you'd say it's a big game. It's just because where it's
in a quarterfinal, both teams wouldn't have rotated as heavily.
But I don't think we rotated that much. It was still great. There were still strong teams out. They still brought on Bernardo Silva and had fucking Mahrez and that starting. You know, they played Diaz.
They played Diaz, yes, but they also played this Lewis guy. They played Palmer. They played Alvarez. They clearly rotated. Like, how many players did they change from the weekend? What, 9?
Yeah, they changed a lot. I don't think we're ever going to come to like an agreement on this, but obviously, I think it's just more perspective on the way that we're both looking at the competition and the more so the round that it's in. But besides that point, anyway, the XG thing just makes it even more annoying. The fact that our XG is actually higher than theirs, yet they're the ones who've won the game 2-0. I get that some of it comes from Lewis Hall missing his opportunities, but the fact that we have an XG of 1.9. I still come out of the game with no goals, if anything, makes me even more annoyed than if we had like a 0-point-something XG and lost 2-0. The fact that we've actually got that XG, which suggests we had good chances and could have scored, but haven't, is what irritates me, irks me more than anything.
Fair enough. I'm not sure who Louis is. I feel like you called me Louis before. I'm not Louis. I'm called Laurenz. Pice is Pice, and Aaron is Aaron. So I'm not sure who you're talking about, but fair enough. Sorry for going off, Louis. I love this stream, and it's normally Twitter annoying me. And that one British pundit, Craig, whatever his last name is. Oh yeah, don't just ignore him. Whenever you see anything to do with him, just you should just block him and everything ESPN ever says. Quite frankly, but yeah, Craig Slater, is it? Is that his name? He's just an absolute.
You're not talking about Craig Burley from ESPN.
Oh, that's him. Yeah, that clown. Like, honestly, don't listen to him. Don't listen to anything he says, mate. But let's get to Broja finally. And I put this in the chat earlier where I'm like, after this, Pulisic didn't find him and Kovacic didn't find him, and I was like, see, this is where you can say a striker lacked service. Not Aubameyang running around in no man's land against Arsenal all game long and then has 8 touches and everyone's like, oh, the striker got no service. It's different. And I also think when we took Broja off, we also got a lot worse for a good bit. Only at the very, very end did we turn up again. But was he amazing? No. I'll give him a 5.5. What I give him? Price, what would you give him? Maybe a 6.
Yeah, I think a 6. I think it was pretty average. I think he did okay in some moments. I think his brute force is like, it's really interesting because like some moments I felt like he lost the ball and he somehow came out with it, and I was like, you're a bit lucky there. But yeah, I guess that's, I think he also got stupidly penalised for a foul, which I think was strength. He would have been pretty much 1-on-1. It was quite early on in the game. I thought that's just given a foul for that, for strength and brute force, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, who knows what would have happened if he was onside and Kovacic played that ball through. If spots maybes, I guess. I think 6 is okay. Not judge. I don't really judge Broja or Aubameyang too harshly, to be honest, because I don't think, everything else put aside, I don't think we create enough clear-cut chances for them, whoever plays, to be honest. Especially not with the players that play tonight, at least.
Yeah, fair. Aaron, would you agree on a 6? Would you give him less? I assume you're not going to give him more, but what will you give him?
No, I'd go with the 6 as well, but The fact that I could see how many passes just weren't being played through to him, and I was annoyed. I can't even begin to imagine how he felt on the pitch. But he made a lot of good runs. There was times where we're countering, and he's just making these runs, and he's peeling off the defender. But no one seems to play the ball to him for some reason. I don't know whether it's because he's sort of running down towards the left side a little bit, and he doesn't like to go on his left foot. So maybe that's the reason why they might not be passing it in there instead of going out wide or something. But he made a lot of good runs today, but no one seemed to find him. But he didn't really. There wasn't too much going on in the game with him, and that one where he got penalised for brute strength against, I think it was against Diaz. I think that was ridiculous. Just because he's stronger than him doesn't mean that it's a fucking foul. But yeah, it wasn't his greatest game, but he didn't really receive the ball too much. So it was kind of harsh on him as well.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Now, that was the 5 subs we did make. We did actually use all 5 subs for once. Let me try to switch it around how it in the end was after all of the 5 subs had come on. Havertz, I think, was up front. Pulisic was kind of the left wing back. In my personal opinion, at the end, it was kind of, well, actually, Mount was more over here. Gallagher was over here. Kind of one of those. Kind of. And then at the very end, Ruben went to right centre back, and Azpi played right wing back, which was even more weird. But yeah, I want to touch on something. Why, Broja wasn't amazing, but he wasn't bad, right? And we played a lot of long balls, which a tall striker, or a reasonably tall striker, has a lot of use for. And then he always goes and brings Sterling or Gallagher on for the strikers. And now he brought Sterling on, and then obviously Havertz came on only a few minutes later, and then it changed again, but still. And then you have Sterling up front. I'm like, sorry, what? No. Stop doing this. Stop putting Sterling up front. You should stop putting Sterling anywhere. That's not the bench, quite frankly. Do you know what I mean? It's such a useless play, honestly. Mount comes on. Now, he had that one shot where, number one, he should score, but it's a good effort, I guess. But otherwise, Mount literally made us worse. Honestly, I was like, bring Ziyech back on, man. Come on. Gallagher played. It was certainly more Mount further forward and Gallagher kind of a second pivot in a half three midfield. I can understand if people have disagreements on how I put this up on screen now. I'm not 1,000,000% set on this. But, would you guys want to give any of these guys ratings? I don't think any of them were good, so they wouldn't get high ratings. But price on any of them, anything much to say?
On who, the subs?
Yeah.
No, not really, to be honest. Mount, Sterling, I thought should have scored inside the box. Havertz is just no comment on Havertz. And Mount, the one thing I did see was him tripping over the ball, which went out, which was great. So yeah, fantastic impact.
Oh, I don't know if you unplugged your mic now. It sounded like you unplugged your mic, but fair enough. I'll give it to Aaron in the meantime. Hopefully you can fix that. Aaron, any thoughts on any of the subs? Any of them that you think should get a rating?
None of them really did fuck all, so nothing to rate them on. But I think we need to revoke Havertz's name and just refer to him as number 29, and he has to earn his name back now because saying that name just infuriates me. I can't do it. So number 29, yeah, he's got a lot of work to do to earn his name back. But no ratings for them. They didn't really do. None of them done anything, so nothing to rate them on. But that substitution thing really pisses me off. Where he takes a striker off and he brings on like a short winger. Like, why the fuck would you take off a big target man and bring on Sterling? Surely you just go like for like and take Broja off and bring on like Havertz or Aubameyang or someone and just have an actual striker on the pitch rather than.
Or just leave Broja on the pitch, man. Like, he doesn't get that much game time anyway. It's not like Sterling's going to win us the game, is he?
Broja wasn't bad, but no one was finding him, and he was actually trying to get involved in the game. But it's that I don't understand his substitution. We'll get on to him in a minute because Mr. GP, he's got a lot of questions to be answered. But yeah, it was nothing for the subs.
Fair enough. On Azpi, I quickly want to say something. That yellow card he got was one of the most ridiculous yellow cards I've ever seen. Now, he fouls Grealish. Azpi claims it was a dive, but it fouls Grealish. But the ref doesn't give a foul, and certainly not a yellow card. He doesn't give advantage. He just doesn't give a foul. Grealish gets up, pushes Azpi in the back of the head, or just on the back anyway, with, like, number one, what an absolute scumbag and like little coward. You like stop attacking people when they're not looking at you. You absolute little rat. But hey, and then Aspie just was like, what the fuck? Does like literally keeps his arms away. Does nothing wrong really, other than say stop pushing me. And the ref has obviously no clue what happened, and because two people kicked off, he just gave both a yellow card. I'm like, sorry, no, this needs to stop the referees do this. But I mean, HM in the chat said he did more in 5 minutes at right wing than Ruben did all game. To be honest, you're not wrong. But did he do much either? No. Like he had one moment where he could have so easily played a good cutback. I think Sterling just messed it up so bad. It's very frustrating. But yeah, let's get to Graham Potter then. I'm not sure where we'll put him. Put him with Koulibaly, why don't we? Yeah, interesting one, this. The one thing I want to mention first and foremost, now, whether we have this debate, is it a big game, is it not a big game? The fact that he rotated more today and used youngsters today, now I understand they weren't all eligible for the Champions League, including like Omari Hutchinson, not that he was used today anyway. But the fact that he played pretty much a full-strength team against Zagreb. Yeah, I understand he probably at the time wanted to bring some confidence back into the team after the Brighton defeat. And then against Arsenal, realized, okay, that didn't work. So then this time it rotated instead. But like foresight, man. Come on, foresight. It's a game that doesn't matter versus a game that, especially in Pisces and Aaron's opinion, matters the world. So like, why are you rotating in this one? Do you know what I mean? Like, what? And then obviously a lot of people have told me, yeah, but every win in the Champions League group stages gets you 2.5 million euros. I'm like, okay, but our board, our owner doesn't give a flying flip about 2.5 million euros. Like not a flying flip. He literally paid 26 million or 21 million pounds to get Graham Potter and his staff from Brighton in September. And to pay out Thomas Tuchel. Like, do you really think he gives a shit about 2.5 million euros? Absolutely not. So that's not a reason for why that happened, in my opinion. It's just weird. But again, in my opinion, the performance wasn't that bad today. I'm glad he gave Lewis Hall a chance. I'm disappointed he didn't give Hutchinson a chance, especially, like Pice touched on earlier, for the fact that Omari Hutchinson was called up by Jamaica for international duty for a couple of friendlies and was asked not to go, I think, for the under-21s, though, probably, because otherwise, why would it be while the other teams are playing, while the professional teams are playing? And we told him, don't go because you might be involved here, and then he doesn't even come on. Well, like, sorry, what is that? I don't understand. But I'll give him... I think the tactics were acceptable today. I know a lot of people disagree and mentality and this, but I think you go away to Man City with the injuries we have, with the form that we're in, you make sure you don't let them annihilate you. And we didn't do what we did on a Conte where we just didn't try at all. We tried to counter. There was plans in the counter-attack. We could have easily scored 3 goals. Like we had 3 huge chances in the game. We had more big chances. We had higher XG than Man City. So I don't think you can say we were that bad. I think the selection was okay outside of Hutchinson. I'll give him like a... Because we lost in the end, but can he control that Chalobah makes that foul, that Koulibaly doesn't jump, and that Cucurella decides that Mahrez should go on his strong left foot? I don't think so. So I don't want to give him quite a 6, but I'd say 5.5. But you guys are probably going to go lower, and so it's going to take it down anyway. Aaron, do you want to go first? What would you give Graham Potter today?
Disappointed not to see Omari Hutchinson get any minutes. Poor substitution choices, but in terms of the actual game itself, I don't think the game plan was bad. I think whatever he set out to do looked like it was working, but it was just a poor start to the second half, which sort of cost us. But yeah, the substitutions was not impressed at all. So I'll probably go with like a 5.
Okay. Pice, before you get to those quotes by Lewis Hall, I've just seen your tweet about it. Rating for Graham Potter? Oh, your mic seemingly still isn't working. Try again.
Hello?
There you are. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
I think with everything I said combined, I have to go lower. This game was important to me. I don't like going out of cup competitions, especially not so early. And I know it's Man City and everything. I know we had chances. I know the lineup wasn't that bad, but Yeah, I agree with Aaron. I don't think the substitutions helped us in trying to get back into the game, to be quite honest with you. Bringing 2 centre midfielders on, and obviously a defender. Sterling up front was a weird one as well. And obviously, yeah, I obviously have a different view in terms of the mentality going into these games. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm gonna go with a 4, I think.
Okay. You said 5, didn't you, Aaron?
Yeah, but after listening to Pius, I'm going to go down to a 4 as well.
Okay. Give him a 4.5 then. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if you guys see it that way, that's fair enough. But I will just tell you two as openly and as honestly as it is. You have basically 2 options. Either you stick by the way you think about it, you do now, and you will have a miserable time for most part of this season, or you just lower your expectations a little bit because we're in a transition period where the expectations need to be a bit lower, especially while we have this many injuries, and you'll be a little bit less depressed. And would you like to be less depressed? I think so. So that's why that's my recommendation. But I can only say what I think, and you say what you think. It's absolutely fair. Pice, do you quickly want to read out those quotes by Lewis Hall? Or do you want me to bring up the tweet? I can also do that. Or is there
When you
anything
can
more
do,
than
yeah.
that?
I mean, on Absolute Chelsea, if you want to bring up their page, they've got loads of quotes.
Okay,
He did like a whole ass interview. I don't know who. I'm not sure who it was. Why? Oh, obviously
Probably
Chelsea.
with whichever TV channel
Yeah.
showed the game in England, I would assume.
It was with Chelsea actually, but yeah, there's loads of quotes. Yeah, talking about his position, objectives, pathway to the first team, that sort of thing.
Fair enough. Let me just get it up on screen now. Firstly, it says here Lewis Hall on pathways for academy players. Definitely, especially when you look at those players like Reece, Mason, and Trev. It's a big inspiration to all young players who are potentially training with the first team and getting experiences like I did. Lewis Hall on again. Everyone realizes that it's possible with John Terry. He's in and around the academy coaching. He's really good with all of the younger players. He's a top inspirational guy. And then we see Lewis Hall on objectives for the season, taking it one step at a time, because at the start of the season I was playing regularly in the Premier League too, and I was really happy with how I was doing. And as a team, we are really building and getting somewhere with it. But with opportunities like this, where it's something that's not quite expected, but it's happened also quickly. You just have to take it 1 week at a time, one game to the next. He also says, if I'm honest, I prefer to play in the middle. I prefer playing in the middle of the pitch. I feel that's where I can be most effective, whether that's as a pivot or as an 8. But I have played left side a lot, wing back or centre half. I like to have versatility, so when the manager picks a team, there's different positions you can be selected for. On Graham Potter's message, he says, before the game, he was like, you've deserved this, and what I've done in training, just keep going, play the way I play and know differently, and just be myself and try to express myself as best as possible. Yeah, it definitely felt like a step up, the way they moved the ball around, one of the best teams in the world to do it. It's very tough and physically demanding against a team like City. We still had chances where we could have potentially got ourselves back into the game or got ourselves ahead. We can take positives from the game. Fair enough. It was with Chelsea, I see clearly. Disappointing to lose and be knocked out of the competition so early, but personally, it's what you dream of as a kid, playing in the biggest games. Playing against a top team like City at the Etihad is something that you dream of, so really happy. It's a big game in Newcastle. Oh, that was from Graham Potter, I guess. It's a big game in Newcastle, 5:30 on the TV. It will be a fantastic atmosphere. They're doing really well. So it will be a tough game, but we have to try and go there and get the 3 points. Well, yeah, we do. So we read through all of that. Maybe not. On Lewis Hall, he says he did brilliant. Fantastic performance, great quality, great effort. You could see when he took the ball, he took responsibility, did everything else other than score. Well, there you go. I'm not going to read out every single quote from Graham Potter today. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time we round this one out. Aaron Pice, any last words you would like to get out there before we round this one out? I'll start with you, Aaron.
Lewis Hall is a fucking generational talent, and he better be in the first team from now on. That's about it. Fair
play, Pice. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, just sitting on Lewis Hall, not quite a far generational talent, but definitely don't ghost him, man. Like he's played well, played players on merit. Not necessarily saying start him against Newcastle, but if it comes to it, why not? You know, I know
should be in the squad for sure.
Should be in the squad. Like, there's no reason. Like, he's shown he's clearly good enough against a top level team. So yeah, obviously, left wing back is not even his position. But as you've seen there in the quotes, I mean, he can play a lot of positions. He clearly seems like a talented footballer. So and he's fast as well, man. Like if you've got pace behind you, you've always got something. So, even Werner got away with, being quick and stuff like that. So he got praised for that, and it did have its obviously pros, I guess. So yeah, but looks talented on the ball. Just want to see him more. Don't ghost him. And yeah, Newcastle. I just want to see some fight, man. Like I want to feel like I'm in the game again. I want to feel like
Against
I'm.
Newcastle, we should at least not be the passive team because Newcastle still park the bus, don't they? Even though they're good now.
Yeah, I don't know really. I guess they will, but and then I think with the moments we do have possession, we just need to move the ball fast. And there was so many times again tonight where like we got to the edge of the, especially when we bought those subs on, we got to like the edge of the box and we just messed up the pass or didn't quite play the correct run.
That's
It's just
essentially how
so
we conceded
annoying,
the second goal, isn't it? Like Ruben got into the box, didn't cross, didn't shoot, didn't take the player
Yeah,
on,
there was
passed it
one
back to
with
Pulisic, who was under loads of pressure. We lose the ball, we get hit on a counter, but 2-0 down, game over.
like,
So
can
it's like
stuff just
from
go
our own
right for
chance.
once, man? Please, can stuff just go? Can stuff just click? Please get 3 points because the sad reality is none of us think we're going to win. So if we won, it would be absolutely massive, and we'll all be really happy. So please win.
Yeah, I mean, we can only hope, really. But it would certainly be lifting our mood drastically going into the World Cup for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. If you're still here, I appreciate you very much. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. I should really remind myself to tell you this more often during the streams. But hey, if you're here and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. On the road to 20,000 subscribers, smash the like button as well on your way out. Doesn't cost you any money or basically any time. Just click that. It really helps me spread these videos out to more people. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. It's, as always, upwards and onwards. And I'll see you next time.